Ready?
Do
you want to do the intro?
Oh, what's the intro? Yeah, tell me. I'll do it.
Just whatever you want the intro to be.
Okay.
You don't have to look at this. Just whatever you feel. I feel like I've done the intro. This is my 25th episode, so...
Your 25th episode?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Let's fucking go.
I know. Quarter of
25 sitting on 25 mil. Let's fucking go.
I love it. Okay, you guys, if you haven't, been told, or if you haven't noticed from the title of the episode, I am with an icon today.
You're right.
Serena
Fucking
Kerrigan. Okay, so this is just a quick little... It's not a trigger warning. Well, it is for my dad only. Like my dad, anyone in my family, just don't listen to this. You can, but it's gonna be really uncomfortable.
My parents are definitely gonna listen to this, so I'm so excited to share it with them.
Perfect. Well, I can't think of a better person to have on because this is a topic that I really don't ever talk about, but mainly because
Wait, what's the topip? I don't know. Is this working? Check.
Literally, I walk into Serena's apartment and I see this hot pink dildo sitting on her coffee table, and I'm like, what is that?
I was like, don't worry, it hasn't been inside of me. It's my content dildo, okay, y'all?
Not yet, at least.
Not yet.
At least. But, okay, so getting into things, we have so much to talk about. So, I feel like everybody already knows you, but for anybody who doesn't know you, just a little, background. Because you're a smart, educated girl, too. You're not just, a internet personality, TikTok girl.
I'm an icon.
Instagram. Yes. An entrepreneur.
Yes.
All of the things. So, you grew up in New York City.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
My name's Serena. My mom's name is Lily. So, Gossip Girl was literally based off of my life. I'm not
No
kidding.
way.
No, I'm not kidding.
Oh, my God.
And I went to, you grew up on the Upper West Side, not East, but whatever.
You low-key give me, Lily vibes, too.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
is that because everyone on TikTok thinks I'm 50?
Do they really?
Sometimes people are like, are you 25 or 46? And I'm like, neither, I'm 27.
Okay, so I'm going to be honest. Before we did this, I did do a little Google search.
As you should. Come prepared.
Right, exactly. I was like, I need to have good questions because
Yeah.
I only have an hour of your time. So I did see that you were 27. And honestly, I feel like anybody who is between the ages of 22 to 32 are just kind of the same age to me.
100%.
Everybody's just in that same stage of life.
Right. So I grew up in New York City. I went to Duke. I studied English. Yeah, go Devils, baby.
My ex-boyfriend, that was his dream school. He didn't get in. But I loved Duke in high school because of him.
Yeah,
so.
loved Duke. Had the best time there. That's where SFK, that persona, Serena fucking Kerrigan, was born.
Okay.
And then I studied English and visual media studies. Really knew that I wanted to get into content. I graduated with 15 people in my major. And the other day I actually saw a TikTok where it's a Duke student being the Bachelor guys came to our creator influencer class. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Because when I went to Duke, I was kind of ridiculed for wanting to maybe pursue something in content because everyone wanted to be a doctor, a lawyer, public policy, econ.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm just I know I want to be a filmmaker. I want to make content, whatever it is. And then I worked at Refinery 29 for 3.5 years. And then I jumped ship 2 weeks before the pandemic.
That's so crazy. What was your role at Refinery?
I was a producer. I started as an intern and I worked my way up. So I did Facebook Live, Snapchat, Instagram content, and then YouTube content for them.
Okay, and you were the person that was in all of their content too.
I produced and I starred and hosted and was talent too. Yeah.
Okay, so prior to leaving your role at Refinery 22? 29.
Mm-hmm.
What number is it? So prior to leaving there, did you have a following on social media yet, or was it during quarantine that you really popped off?
I think I maybe have around 25K. So
Okay.
I grew a substantial following from my work at Refinery and also just having this fun persona that I love to play. But it was really quarantine where I popped off because one, it became my full-time job.
Right.
I just quit 2 weeks before lockdown, that was just the name of the game. And also because I think when, lockdown happened, I was like, oh wow, this is only going to last 3 weeks and everyone's on their phone for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So I need to just pump out content left and right. And something that I felt really comfortable doing was going live because I did so much live content at Refinery.
Yeah.
So I started going live and that's, I think, was so great because when you're live, you're just you. There's no editing, hiding. You're just so authentically yourself. And I think that's really when the audience grew. And then, of course, Let's Fucking Date happened.
Yeah. Well, I think also going live, too, it takes a special kind of person that can just, get in front of a camera and just be very natural and yourself.
And I feel you have to, talk 20, like you can have gaps of like stillness and
Yeah.
like and engaging
sure.
in your audience if like you're interviewing or sitting with someone, like how to kind of, it's definitely like a skill set that you have to feel comfortable doing.
Yeah, for sure. So when you were at Refinery and you had like your own following before, were you kind of known for like Refinery's content, or was it like your own personality?
I think it was a bit of both. I think like I try to be myself as much as possible at Refinery in that content because it was me. But I think people thought, this persona and this like bad bitch energy was really interesting. I think at first I didn't show that much of myself on social media. Like I think I was playing this character so much that it almost seemed like unrelatable.
Yeah.
Like it made me feel confident to like kind of hide behind this like baddie persona.
Yeah.
And then when quarantine happened and I was live, people were like, oh shit, like she's not just SFK, she's also Serena. And that's when I also felt more comfortable sharing more and more and more. And people want, that's why I think that you're also such a, successful, amazing creator. It's like you're very authentically yourself. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's the name of the game. It's giving people access into your life. And that's what I've been doing.
It's definitely giving people like a very vulnerable look at who you are. And like when you do that, you're just opening people to opinions about you. And some people just like you or they just don't. And like you literally can't change that. But something that's hard about being like your own brand, which you are very much, like let's fucking date and let's fucking fuck, like your card game, all of that. Like when I think of that, I think of Serena Kerrigan. Like I think of you, and that's like a person as a brand. Whereas, and like if people don't like that brand, it's a lot harder than if you were like, oh, I don't like Walmart or like a specific brand that's unattached to a specific person. Like it's so hard to kind of like dissect the two.
You can't separate it, right? But that being said, in life, not everyone's going to like you.
Yeah.
Because you don't like everyone. So,
Exactly.
I think that before people were very intimidated by the SFK thing. They're like, her middle name's fucking. Like, she's so, she talks about sex. She's so open. She's so direct and bold and a little polarizing. But I think that that's, ultimately, I want people to follow me that fuck with me, get it, like, or want to feel empowered. And the people that don't want to follow me, I'm okay with that.
Well, people are just, they're intimidated.
Right, it's about them. It has nothing to do with me. Like, I ultimately, I think my purpose in life is just to make people feel good about themselves. Like, that's really what my content is aimed to do.
Well, that's why you're here today. And we're going to talk all about it. And hopefully all of my girls listening, because, I mean, there are definitely some people of all ages and every walk of form out there that listens. But I feel like for me, there's a lot of conversation that's not had about, like, your sexual health too. And I talk a lot about like mental health and physical health and friendships and all of that stuff. But I do feel like in your 20s, this is like our time to grow into women and like blossom into who we can be. And I think one of those things is like being open about your sexuality. And so I look at you and I'm like, oh my God, like I wish I could talk like that. So instead of me talking like that, I'm going to have you talk about it.
Okay.
But I want to talk about Let's Fucking Date because that's exactly where it like all really started. So I know you said that it came up with the idea because you were like, okay, it's only going to be 3 weeks. People are all on their phones. So this was something that was like planned that you had in your mind of like, I'm going to strategize this to get people to watch this and hopefully like this will take off the career.
Absolutely not.
No?
No.
Okay, I love that because...
no way. Like, I was literally going live because I was fucking bored and like single.
Yeah.
And I was very interested in the fact that like when lockdown happened, I was alone in my Lower East Side apartment. My parents were uptown and I wasn't going to see them. I didn't want to like kill them. And then, my roommate left and with her boyfriend. And a lot of my friends left with their boyfriends and went to the Hamptons or they went to Connecticut. And I was stuck alone. And like this guy that was my neighbor that I was kind of seeing like blew me off. And I was like, what are singles meant to do during quarantine? Like that's like something that like is not being discussed. Like everyone's feeling isolated, but like what happens when you're like actually alone and can't date? And so I kept talking about that as I went live every single day. And then one day I was like, what if I like dated someone on live? But it was never like, I'm gonna make a TV show and I'm gonna have a separate Instagram account and then we're gonna, no. And by the way, anyone who's listening to this that like wants to build something or be a creator or want to build a series, like start just small with an idea. Let's just go do it once. I was like, let's just do the date, see how it goes. It was like a disaster. Like I had blindfolds on. The guy that I wanted.
Blindfolds.
We did blindfolds at first.
Okay.
Which didn't make sense because I was like, it was impossible. Also, like, the guy that I was on a date with, like a friend of his was in the room, like doing like work on his computer. So I was like, is this like a date? It was so like the first episode is how every first thing, I'm sure your first episode as well, it's not going to be the best, but it's a great jumping off point. So you just have to start. And so I started and then people were like, you have to do it again. And then again. And then we were like, oh, wow. And then we were like, we want to find a way to like save the episodes, get the audience involved, give like fun facts, like do more content. And then we were like, okay, maybe it makes sense to like start a separate page for this. But I remember like I didn't even have a name for the show. I asked my following, I was like, what should I call my dating show? And they were like, fucking Serena Kerrigan. And I was like, no. Like, that's like, that's the name of my porno.
Yeah, like that's a little
it's like, no, that's the name of my porno, which will come out at some point. Just kidding. And then,
maybe.
Or let's fucking date. And then that was, so it was from the get-go, like a very community run show. Also, like, it was live on Instagram. They were in the comments. They were submitting the guys that I was dating. So from the start, like, my audience has been very involved in my track and like in the success of the show. And the card game originated from literally like wanting to ask the people on my show like fun questions that like wasn't like the name game, you know?
Yeah.
Like, because it wasn't a first date. It was also a TV show on Instagram.
For sure. So one of my questions, which you just kind of answered, and just for anybody who like doesn't know, look up, literally Google Serena Kerrigan, and you can do a whole like background check.
Do a deep dive, baby. FBI, my girls. I know you're the FBI. You will find anything you want.
Spark Notes is basically during quarantine, she got on Instagram Live and she started like blind dating guys.
Every week,
saving the episodes. People got like super involved, and then you did like little after show type things.
After show always for an hour, like, and people would come on and say if they liked or didn't like the guy. And by the way, guys, this was in quarantine, so this was in a time where like no one was doing anything on a Friday night. So this became like the thing to do. Like,
it's like a new TV show.
Yeah, like Remy Bader used to get really into it. Like so many creators, like now that I'm friends with, were like, wait, dude, I literally fucking watched your show every week. Which is just so funny. Yeah. It was a TV show. And it was also like a party because of the comment section. It was super, super fun. I dated 50 guys in 2020, which is insane.
Oh my goodness. So out of those 50 guys, how many of them did you feel like you actually formed a connection with?
I mean, I'm still single. I think that in the very beginning, when it was like literally this was my only way of dating, I was definitely like, there was a couple guys that I was like, okay, so like after the show would end, we'd like FaceTime, like, or just by ourselves, and like it was fun. But like ultimately, as it got more popular, it became less real, right? It's like going on The Bachelor, it's going on any of those dating shows. It's like when a camera's in the room, like you're not, like it's very difficult to actually establish, like, is this real or is this fake? Yeah,
for sure. That was one of my questions was, did you feel like there was a lot of pressure just because it was like you were dating people for other people's entertainment
100%.
Rather than like for your own good and like for your own interest?
Yes, but like ultimately, like I've always wanted to be a content creator. Obviously, it was right place, right time, right idea, speaking to like, inspiring people to go on their FaceTime dates, like, which is great. I just think that like, there was like a villain in season 1. There was like drama. I dated Fibula from TikTok. He was like, he was like a runner up. So funny. And we're like really good friends now. But like in the third season, I did 3 seasons of the show. In the third season, I let the audience pick a winner because I never picked one. I always pick myself because I'm the fucking winner. And I remember just like feeling a lot of pressure to like the guy and thinking almost like literally like, and by the way, I fully thought I liked the guy like a lot. I didn't even know him, but I thought I really liked him. And now looking back, I'm like, I think I felt a lot of pressure to like him from the, just from the show. I'm not going to blame the audience because they just wanted to support me. But like, I think dating on camera or having so many other opinions about your love life can get complicated and pressure and put a lot of pressure.
All right, guys, we are 1 week away from Valentine's Day, and if you have not gotten your Valentine a gift yet, don't worry, there's still plenty of time. I have linked a bunch of my ideas on Macy's.com/FOW. I have games, candles, things you can buy your boyfriend, clothes, things you can buy yourself. But if you absolutely cannot think of anything, you can never go wrong with getting somebody a gift card, and it doesn't need to be boring either. You can make the gift card kind of into like an activity that you guys can do together, whether that's going to the store together to use the gift card, or maybe you're like sitting down, you're having a night in, maybe you make dinner, you're watching a show, and then you're shopping online together. Can still be fun, and you can get a gift card from Macy's at Macy's.com/gift cards.
relationship to succeed or not or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, ever since that you like started that too, you just kind of opened this door for people to have opinions about your relationships and be like, oh, this person's not good for you or you're not good for them. And I feel like now, how has that kind of changed the way that you share relationships and potential interests on like social media?
Right now, everything I do is for the plot. Everything I do is to have experiences. Like, I'm not like looking to settle. I can settle down. Like, my whole brand is about doing it for the plot. Like, just having fun, like experiencing things so my audience doesn't have to. Like, I'll do it for you, literally.
Yeah.
And I think like I'm not in an age right now or a state of being right now where I want to like settle down. I think that if I met someone like unbelievably amazing, I assume that if I really liked someone so much, I would probably keep them off social until like I develop that relationship with them. But for now, like, I don't care if someone's like, I just like went to Miami with a random guy and like everyone was weighing in. Like, he's your husband. He's gross. Like, I hate that he said like full send. Like, I hate like what he's, and I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm doing this. You go have an opinion, but your opinion isn't going to like affect my opinion of the situation, because also like, you have to realize like social media to some degree, like it's very produced. Like, we share what we want to share. We don't share what we don't want to share. And so you always have to take everything with a grain of salt with whatever anyone's sharing. Like, rarely do people show themselves crying, fighting, like in a bad mood. Like, and I do appreciate when creators do that, because it's like we all go through it. And I try to do it a lot. I think it's super cringe when I cry on camera, but I really do try. Sometimes I'm like, I don't want to take out my phone right now, but I know if I do, it'll make someone feel better, right?
Yeah.
So
it's like that balance between, I don't want to cry because I don't want people to think that I want people to feel bad for me, but it's also like, this is part of my life and it's part of like reality. And to show those glimpses of it, it kind of brings you back down to earth and like gives you that humanity, I guess.
But also, people are always going to have opinions. Always you're going to think you're doing something for attention, or you're doing something to get a brand deal, or you're doing like, let them fucking think that, because you know what the truth is. And as long as you know the truth, you're golden.
Well, that is definitely some advice I can take from you, because as much as I preach it into this microphone every week that like you shouldn't care what people think, obviously at the end of the day I do care, because when you are a content creator, your career like truly relies on people's opinions of you, and like as long as they want to support you. So the second that they decide that they don't like you and they don't like what you stand for, it does hurt like a lot. And so I feel like I could learn from you how to just be confident with that. So my last two questions about Let's Fucking Date, and then we'll get into like what you're doing now, which is so cool. You mentioned that so your followers were submitting the people for you.
Yeah.
Right. So how were you kind of vetting through?
Oh, I wasn't. Every Date was blind. I had a producer do it.
Oh, okay. So you had somebody else pick the people for you. Okay, so I'm doing something similar for my sister right now, where I had all of the girls that follow me submit their brothers, their cousins, their ex-boyfriends, whoever, to like date my sister. And it's all on a Google form, and I have to go through and like pick these people for my sister, and I'm gonna like vet them through on my podcast, and then like I'm gonna have the people pick who they think she should date, and then like eventually at the end she'll get to meet like 3 guys, and then we can all pick. But
very LFD energy. I love it.
Yeah,
do it.
I literally like thought of you when I was thinking of this, but also too, I mean, nothing else is working, so like why not just try a podcast? It's a little like untraditional, but people go on reality TV and it can 100%. Work. Then like why not a podcast?
I love it.
So they were picking people for you. Do you think that helped or hurt? Because like, I know myself, I think that I have a type, and so sometimes, or just anyone out there, you think you have a type and you continuously gravitate towards those people, but then it never works out. Do you think it helped having like someone that was not you pick?
I think that ultimately we, on dating apps, we tend to be very judgmental based off of 4 photos and like a prompt, and let's be fucking real, heterosexual men take terrible photos, choose terrible photos, are just not like, as in touch with that side of themselves as women are, straight women are. So I think we're hyper judgmental. And this point was literally proven yesterday when I was looking at like my old matches, and like I realized I've been like seeing one of the guys that I had matched with. Like I've been seeing him, like I met him out, and like I've seen it, and we've gone on a couple like.
And you didn't realize it was him.
Didn't even realize him. And I'm like, see, but that's the thing. And I ignored him on the dating app. Like we matched, but I never responded.
Yeah.
See? So with Let's Fucking Date, I was like, I want it to be blind. I don't ever want to know anything about them, because I don't want to go in with a preconceived notion of who they are.
Right.
And I would really advise, if you're dating right now, like, Swipe on someone who's not your type. Swipe on someone who looks cute in their 3 photos. Maybe not their 4th, but just do it anyway.
Yeah.
People, it's not about what they look like. It's about their energy and the energy that they give off. And you might be really, really, really pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. I feel like there's always those people when you go out that you're attracted to somebody just based off of like how you vibe. But then you see them on social media and you're like, you are so like granola. Like you're so boring. That's not the kind
Or they would
of
say to
person.
me, like for me, like I think what I have really an issue with is like SFK is like hot as fuck. And like, I mean, also like physically hot, obviously, but also just like very like bold personality on social media. And I think I'm a lot calmer in real life and a lot. The first thing guys always tell me, like, you're so chill. And I'm like, yeah, because that's my job.
Yeah.
And like, it's just like, that's like social media is our job. And we have a personal life and a professional life. And it's really difficult when those two are blended when you're trying to date because the person's just like, this is who she is. I'm like, well, there's so much more to the story.
Yeah, for sure. One of my questions is, do you think that dating on the show, do you think that helped give you confidence like within your dating life because you had
100%.
so many people watching you?
So many people watching, also so much practice. I think that people are like, I've been dating forever and it's like not working. Is it me? I'm like, no, it's not you. It's you. Sometimes you have to listen. Dating fucking sucks until you find the person. That's literally that's what everyone says. It sucks and it's work and and then you find the person and you're like, it was all that was worth it. I think like, the struggle is the point. I think like if you're listening and you feel frustrated, focus on your career, focus on becoming financially independent, spend time with your friends, work out, have fun, party. You do not have to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Like you don't have to settle down right this second. Like you have a long, beautiful life out of you. So just live in the now, live in the present.
So speaking of the present, tell everybody what you're working on right now and kind of like the card game and all of that stuff. And just also like, what are your goals like long term?
Okay, cool. So I've launched 3 card games. Let's fucking date, let's fucking fuck, and let's fucking play.
I've played the Let's Fucking Fuck one. I played it with 2. I won't give specific. I played it with 3 other people, and it was just kind of like weird because I'm like speaking to the one person, but then like they're both in the room. And I'm like, maybe this is a test for me to like just be a little bit more confident and like not so like kind of weird about things.
Okay, Jenna.
I know. We'll get there. But I've played it before. It's a great game. And it definitely like gets you out of your comfort zone.
Have you played with a guy?
I have, with 2 other people in the room.
Okay, let's play maybe without. Why don't you play with Connor?
Okay, maybe that would be oh God. I did some.
I assume you have sex, right? It's okay. Like she's getting all... I mean, it's your boyfriend. It's okay. It's normal.
Oh my God. I played...
You said you were like, hey, Serena, I wanted to talk about sex on this episode. Well, we're going to talk about sex.
I didn't say my sex.
Okay, fine. Jenna and Connor don't have sex. Sorry.
Oh my gosh. Well, what I was going to say was we played We're Not Really Strangers the first time I did an episode with him. So maybe one of these days we'll break out one of your card games.
Or you can play Let's Fucking Date. It's a little less...
Okay.
It's a little more your speed, maybe.
So the 3 different games are meant for, what are the settings for each?
Right. So I think Date was our OG game. Like, I think you can play it on a first date. You can play it if you're in a relationship, if you're a spouse, if you're in a group of friends. Let's Fucking Fuck is like the dirtier, raunchier older sister. Like, it's me in a game, right? Maybe you're LFG and I'm LFF, okay?
Yeah.
And then LFP, I really wanted to make a game because I, was doing a lot of confidence coaching during the pandemic, and I am the queen of confidence. So I wanted to make a game that was like, just back to my roots and about confidence. So I called it Let's Fucking Grow. And my team was like, it sounds like, what's going to be the marketing? Like you as a tree? And I was like a plant growing. And I was like, no.
I thought of like a bacteria cell. I'm going to be honest.
So there you go. Like, it's COVID. We're growing. It's an absolute no. So I was like, what would be like, what does self-love mean? And, we're going to talk about sex, Jenna, okay?
Yeah.
Right?
No, we are. We're going to get into it.
so much about, really, especially women. Like, listen, we can orgasm and we don't have to have we don't, like, men orgasm and there's semen that comes out and then they get people pregnant. Us, we can orgasm just because we fucking can. And and being able to make yourself orgasm is incredible and essential for when you have a partner, because once you know what you want, then you can communicate what you want to them, and then they can make you happy. And sex is a 2-person thing. It's not just about one person's pleasure. So it's so important to masturbate and be comfortable with your own sexuality. And I think ultimately, like, self-pleasure is the ultimate act of self-love, being able to make yourself happy without anyone else. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Orgasm with anyone else. So I wanted to normalize masturbation because I've been doing it since I was like legit 4 years old, like humping everything.
No.
Guys, I used to hump everything, like in preschool, like all the chairs, all the corners of tables, and My teachers literally called my parents into a conference. They're like, "Wait, we need to talk about Serena's humping problem." And my parents were like, "Just do it in private, jeez." And I was like, "I don't want to. I want like eyes on me all the time."
Oh my God.
Anyway, it's okay. We've solved that problem to some degree.
At what age did you realize like what you were actually doing?
I knew that it was wrong because like it just feels like you're touching your private part. But like also my parents were like, listen, like you can do it. We love that you're doing it. Like fucking go girl go. But like literally just do it in your room. Like please. And it was a little touch and go. Like I definitely like did it in school like too much. It was so weird. But like whatever. Very important that you are, just your body. That being said, we made that game so you can it's just like the other two where you can play with friends, you can play on a date, like, if you're a couple, but you can also play completely by yourself.
Okay.
So it's like a very intimate, sexy game. It's also very sexual.
Okay. Yeah. No, I like that because I feel like how often are you getting in touch with your own self, like through a card game? Every single card game I've ever seen in my life is intended for like a group of people.
Right.
So I think that is cool, especially like maybe that's the way that you kind of segue into being comfortable is like
100%.
Starting playing the game by yourself.
100%.
And like really thinking about those questions and your answers and reflecting on your own like sexuality and then being able to then maybe like you get a little more comfortable and then you can play the game with other people. I feel like
there you go. Jenna's gonna play alone.
Yeah.
Report back.
Who knows? If you got an extra card here, I don't know.
I do.
I might take it over to
a closet full.
I'm staying at Lily's apartment tonight. I might gotta lock the door for like 5 minutes. No, I'm just. I love the branding too. By the way, all of your photo shoots that you do,
Thank you.
like, it gives me like Britney vibes, but like Serena.
Love Britney. Love.
Like
Love.
Britney Serena.
Okay, there you go.
Love this. Beautiful. This is like my first PR from you.
Oh my God, love. You're on the list, girl. You're on the list, girl now. 100%.
Love it. So you started the card game and that's going obviously so well. I see TikToks all the time. I love when you post, like people will send you screenshots and stuff of like, I played this game, literally broke the headboard. Like I love that.
Oh my God, the sales that day were fucking insane. Like
Yeah.
it was like, I think that if you're listening and you want to like launch your product, like I didn't realize like how epic it is when it goes viral on TikTok, like the way that, and it makes sense. Like people, sex is taboo and I want to be the Samantha Jones of my generation and make it really
100%.
like palatable and like make people like you feel more comfortable to kind of just be open about it because listen, it's natural. It's a part of, it's why we're here.
Literally our parents created us somehow. Not that I want to like think about that, but it's true.
It's just like it's normal. And I grew up in a very like obviously liberal, open household. My mom's from Argentina. My dad's not from here. So it's like, I think that's also, I'm also an only child. I also was humping everything when I was little. So there you go. So I just like, I want to make people feel comfortable to talk about it because ultimately the more we talk about it and the more we talk about it, we remove the shame. And when we remove the shame, we feel happier and better about things, but also we're more healthy and we make smarter and safer choices.
Yeah.
It's like when I heard that some of my friends were like, my mom doesn't want to give me condoms or birth control because then I'll have sex. It's like, you're going to have sex regardless.
Yeah.
So it's better to have all the information and also just the comfortability of it. Because if there's so much shame, then you can't ask for what you want. And it's not fun. Like, it should be fun. It's a fun thing to do. It feels good.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. And so the card games are going amazing. And then you're also are you still doing the confidence coaching?
I stopped doing the confidence coaching because I wanted to make it really accessible. It's it's so interesting to me how, I coached 150 women during 2020 and there were ages ranging from like 14 to 60 years old.
Yeah.
And they all came to me and they're like, they all felt like their problems were so unique to them.
Yes.
And I was like, no, it's actually like a systemic issue of like the patriarchy and capitalism where it's like if you like ultimately like capitalism is designed so we buy things and we buy things when we feel insecure. We buy makeup, we buy cute clothes, right? Like that's like it's predicated. We buy weight. Think about the weight loss industry, the beauty industry. Those industries were still booming during the pandemic because when we feel insecure, we want to buy something that's going to fix that.
Yeah.
So society doesn't want us to be confident. And so my thing is like, I want to make sure that women.
I would have just got goosebumps. That was so good.
Thanks. I rehearsed for you, Jenna. but like, I think, it's really, I feel like I was literally put on this planet to like make people realize their self-worth and just like how you were born with confidence. Like you really were. And you grew up and someone made a comment to you, maybe your parent, maybe you looked on the TV and you saw Victoria's Secret runway and you're like, what the fuck? I don't look like that. There's something at some point you started to realize that you weren't maybe perfect. By the way, everyone feels this way at some point. Even the most people that you think might look perfect, are perfect, whatever. There's no such thing. Mm-hmm. And what happens is we have to unlearn that. We have to unlearn that narrative that like we aren't like literally perfect the way that we are, you know, and that narrative of like what's beautiful, what's cool, what you should be doing, like that's like for you to decide. Like you decide the identity of who you are, and like you're a baddie, and I'm here to remind you of that.
I love that. And also too, like everybody who makes those, there's always that like one family member or one friend or one person in your life that makes those like little snarky comments, and they may not think that it like really has that much of an effect, but then that might be something that sits with you and it festers. And all of those comments and like people that are making you feel insecure, it's literally stemming from their own insecurity.
Always.
Because
always,
like literally the energy that you put out is the energy that you attract. And if you're putting out negativity, then like you're bringing in negativity to yourself, and it's only going to put more out.
Fully. And I believe that words are, when I did confidence coaching, like I had like many principles, and one of them was like, whoever said sticks and stones break my bones, words will never hurt me is that a liar. Words have so much weight, right? So the way that you talk about yourself, like I noticed you came in here today and you were like, I kind of like look like a businesswoman, and I was like, you look amazing. I was like, don't ever speak fucking badly about yourself. You weren't, but you were close, right? Like you were close to like, you know, you look beautiful and incredible and professional, as you should with your little sparkly mic.
Thank you.
I think it's like never ever you're allowed to feel something. I don't feel great. I feel like a businesswoman. That was fine because feelings go away. But when you say I am this, I am ugly, I am whatever, like that's when that becomes cemented in who you are. So I think like you really decide who you are, and that is so important. And I literally one day was like, I'm the queen of confidence. Like that's just it. And now I think everyone can agree, like I am the fucking queen of confidence, right? But that's because I decided it. And I was like, I'm hot, and everyone's like, okay, like, and I remember one point like, people were like, what did you do? Like you look so good. I'm like, I literally just started to believe that I looked good. And then everyone mirrors that. Yeah. So and the people that don't, literally who fucking cares? Who cares? Like, literally, who gives a shit? It's not about you. It's about them.
I love that. I think that's literally such a good point. Like, I think that I'm somebody that's, like, confident in myself, but then you catch me doing things like that. I'm like, wow, I actually was being kind of negative. And then I, like, preach all of these things to people, and then I often, like, reflect, and I'm like, who am I to give advice when I do these same things to myself? And sometimes you actually just have to, like, stop yourself and slap yourself on the wrist a little bit and be like,
be kind to yourself. Yeah. Like, if I said something, this is how I think about it. I treat myself like my best friend, right? So if my best friend walked into the room, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, your outfit's so fucking ugly. I would never say that. I'd be like, ooh, I like that, but maybe not for tonight. Like maybe let's work, like, you know what I mean? But like, I would never, right? So if you really start to speak to yourself in the mirror every single day, every fucking day, I have mirrors all over my apartment, right? Like actually everywhere. You become best friends with yourself. And like, how do you ever speak to yourself? If you got ghosted, if your best friend got ghosted, would you say like, yeah, obviously like you would get ghosted? No, you'd be like, fuck that guy. Literally, what a dick, bye, next, move on. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have to be kind to ourselves.
I think it's a lot easier to give people advice saying that, like, this is what I would do, but then when you are in that situation, exactly like getting ghosted, then you don't allow yourself to take that own advice because it's so much harder to do when it's yourself. So that's why you
go in front of your mirror and you almost look at yourself like a different person, like a best friend.
I love that.
So if you can do it, that's the thing about the mirror. It's like there's a human figure there. So you start talking to that person like you're your best friend. It's easier to be kind to yourself in those situations.
Yeah, I love that. So do you have any tips of like small things you can do?
Everyday mirror, every day, all the time.
Okay.
You are your own best friend. If your best friend walked into your living room, into your apartment, would you say hi to her? Would you acknowledge her? If there's a fucking puddle on the sidewalk and you see your reflection, you are being like, hey bitch, what's up? I love you. All the time. All the time.
Okay. I love that. I'm going to have to start doing that.
100%. It will change your life.
I honestly might have to make like a little phone reminder for me to do that.
I literally will text you every day. I'm like, did you talk to yourself in the mirror today?
Okay. I will. Maybe I'll just
change your entire... I mean, people DM me all the time. They're like, you changed my life. I'm like, you changed your life. I just gave you the tools to do so. And it's so interesting to me. Someone came to... A friend of mine who's a makeup artist came to my apartment and was like, I feel like everyone hates me. And I said, okay, we're going in front of the mirror right now. And she goes, I can't do it. I can't look at myself. And I was like, what? It's you. And she's like, she started crying. And I was like, see, no one hates you. You're projecting your feelings about yourself on everyone else. No one's thinking about you. But if you can't even look in the mirror and be like, I love you, you're my best friend, you, the one person who's a constant in your life forever.
Yeah, you're not going to escape yourself.
Ever. If you can't do that, that's why you're insecure. So if once you are able to do that, you'll fly. Truly.
Yeah. Do you do any like self-care? I'm so curious if you journal or anything.
I do journal. I write down my goals as if they're, I am the OG main character, guys. Like, I'm sorry. Like I invented it before TikTok did. And write my life like it's a script. Not in the like, in 5 years I'm going to do this, but like, I'm going to be best dressed at the Met Gala. I'm going to run a very profitable business. I'm going to buy myself a house in the Hamptons. I'm going to sell at Madison Square Garden because I'm doing a live show. Like,
and if you fully like believe that, like you can speak it out loud. It literally happens all the time. Like, I'm going to be in the top whatever Spotify.
Yeah.
And you speak it, but you can't just say it. You have to like literally believe it.
Believe it and do the fucking work.
Yes, that too. And I don't really. Do you believe in manifesting?
100%.
Okay. I feel like there's only manifesting to an extent, like, because I think a lot of people think of manifesting as like just saying that they're going to do something and hoping that it comes true.
No. It's happening. Like, you have to literally, it's literally everything I wanted, I've gotten, because it's just like, there's no other option. Like, it's happening. You are the writer, director, producer, star of your life.
But manifesting for us, I feel like, is saying it, working towards it, and then like fully believing it. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes the other people's definition of manifesting is just being like, I'm manifesting that this happens to me, and then they just like hope that one day it's gonna wake up and it's gonna be given.
It's not magic, guys. It's work, and like it's striving towards a goal, which everyone is capable of doing.
Yeah, love it. Well, you're the queen of confidence in personal life, career life, and also with men and dating, and literally just like being so bold and just so unapologetically yourself, and I admire that so much. And I think that there's a lot of people that allow men to kind of like take advantage of them or step all over them and like not speak up. So I want to talk about dating a little bit.
Yeah.
And I know that you're from New York City. Mm-hmm. So I want to know what it's like dating in New York City.
I think that everyone say it's pretty awful, but I think that this is the thing. It's like, it's hard because it's really easy to, you could have 3 dates in one night here, right? Like, everything is really close. Everyone's walking subway. Like, everything's really in close proximity. There's tons of options. There's a lot of beautiful girls here, more so than guys, I'm just saying. And it's tough, but like, you know, I think the pandemic also slows down dating. I think it's harder to date, but I just think like everyone's going to find their person. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, like, the guy that you cried about last year, you probably don't even remember his name. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, you have to literally, you can't settle. You cannot fucking settle. I don't care if someone is like, sends you flowers. I'm like, but if you're not 100% on them, like, next. Like, do not settle for anything less than a fuck yes. And if it's a fuck yes, if it's not a fuck yes, it's a
no. I love that. I love that. I feel like there's a lot of people that ask me, they're like, I don't know, I'm kind of feeling a certain way. And I feel like anytime you go to an internet stranger and you ask for advice, that's your answer right there.
I always say, if you're asking the question, you know the answer.
Yeah, that's a good answer. So anybody out there who's like thinking about DMing us after this episode, being like,
but come anyway. Yeah. But you probably know. But people like reassurance, which is fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also sometimes it's just good to have reassurance from like someone that doesn't know you, just totally unbiased.
100%.
Rather than
which is
like
why I did the confidence coaching, because people are like, I have a therapist, I have best friends, but I want someone who's like just kind of giving me this raw, unfiltered advice. And I was like, I'm happy to do it. And I just think that this is why you have to date yourself first. And I just taught you how, in the mirror. Mm-hmm. You have to date yourself first, because
I say that all the time.
Once you become you only get validation from within. Mm-hmm. And everything else is an additive. But ultimately, if someone walked away from you, you would be okay. And you have to know that. And you have to believe that. Yeah. Because then, if you don't, and you become super needy, and you're like, oh my God, without him, I'm going to die. I'm never going to be happy. What happens is you start settling for bad behavior, guys walking all over you, guys treating you like shit, or girls, I don't mean to just say one gender, but, because you're so afraid to lose them.
Yeah, that's
so once you get in the headspace of like, I'll be okay if he leaves or she leaves, I'm going to be okay. It's going to suck, but like ultimately I am the source of my own happiness. That's where you have to get to before you start dating.
Yeah, I just talked about this in a recent episode, actually, how I was saying that like for so long I determined my self-worth and like my success and how happy I was with myself based on the validation from the people that I was seeing and like the compliments I was receiving and the assurance that I was getting from other people.
But you are not in control of it, right? Yeah. It's always going to be, it's a no-win game.
So then when I wasn't getting it, I was just never fulfilled with my life. And I was always looking at like, what can I do more? Like, how can I be better? And I think that's a good mindset in a sense if it's happy and it's coming from yourself. And it's like, how can I make myself more happy? But it's not like, what more can I do so he is happy?
Never.
Or he thinks I'm successful.
Or
he thinks I'm pretty.
Who gives a fuck about what he... And by the way, your person, you never have to convince.
Yeah.
You never
I
have to
love that.
convince them, like, to stay or to be like, I hope he thinks that he'll just love you for who you are, regardless.
So you kind of talked about this in the beginning, but what is your advice to people out there who are like, they feel just so much pressure to find their person? Like, you're in your 20s, you see people around you.
No.
How do you still have fun with dating?
Really?
No. Like, I know,
You know.
I know what you're gonna say, but I want you to say it.
Got it. Guys, you're going to get to a point where you're married, and then you're going to have kids if you want. And your life will no longer be just about you. Your 20s are for being selfish, for fucking up, for doing for the plot, for having fun, for going on adventures, for hooking up, for being safe, hooking up, but just like to be the main character of your movie. And then when you're in a relationship, half of it, and I know because you're in one right now, you're giving a lot. You're checking in on someone. Your life is no longer just about you. And I think relationships are so amazing. I love watching your relationship on TikTok. It literally gives me hope. Like, I'm like, oh my, they're so fucking cute. I want to hang out with them. I want to have a sleepover with them. They're adorable on the
You can
couch.
come.
Whatever, 100%. And I'm an awesome ring. Yeah, we'll double date. Hopefully Connor can fucking pull through for me. But, like, right?
I'll ask him. I'll put in a good word for you.
So, but that being said, it's so important. And I know you were single before. Like, time you'll never get back. You just enjoy it and trust the timing of your life. I promise you will find someone. But just let it go. Like, you just let it play out.
Yeah, and I feel like you never really find the right relationship for you until you actually like are so happy with being in that point.
100%.
That like the right person comes along and you're like, I'm so happy being myself.
You better be
that,
11
like,
out of 10, baby.
Yeah, you
right?
better just be like adding to the happiness that I already have.
Yes.
Not providing it, just like adding to it.
It's all an additive. It has to be an additive. Yep.
I love that. So what are some of your red flags for relationships when you're going on dates? Obviously, you have been on a lot of dates. You've seen a lot of red flags. So what are like the key ones that absolutely not, stay away?
I mean, I think that like asking questions, it seems so insane to say. But like, see, I don't pull out my card game on a first date because I want to see what is he going to ask me. Is he curious? Is he intelligent? Is he asking me more than just like, what do you do on the weekends? You know what I mean? I think like I want a planner. I want someone who's going to be like, hey, 7 p.m. this restaurant. Like, does that work for you? Great. Love that.
That's so attractive.
But it's like, but that's like, do you realize that we're at, like, someone?
It's
like,
literally the bare minimum.
I know, but it's so crazy. It's
we're like,
just
ooh,
crazy.
I go crazy for like a guy doing what he's supposed to do.
Like, I don't like when they're like overly sexual on a first date, or even like in the beginning, like overly sexual is like such a turn off. You know, flaunting their success and money, and like I think there's just ways to be humble. You know, myself too, and like, you know, because I am successful in what I do, and I think like I am proud of it, but I just like, it's not like the core of my identity. There's so much more to like people.
Yeah.
Whether if I was like, you know, table manners, being polite, so like, you know, the usual shit. Like I think like, but it's really like, are they curious? Do they make me laugh? Laughing is so important. Like I was in relationships where like, it was nice, but like I wasn't crying laughter. And like, that's ultimately for me, like what I want.
Yeah.
Like I want someone to make me laugh my fucking ass off.
Forever.
I
love that. Those are all such great things. Okay, I need to know. Everybody that follows you on TikTok knows that you were just in Miami. You just got back.
Wow, you're getting the tea.
Yeah, we need the tea. I feel like I'm the first like podcast or anything that you've been on since you got back from Miami. Everybody is so invested in this. So, Serena,
why do you think that people? Okay, sorry, no, give the intro.
No, I was just gonna say. Okay, so you met him on
Raya.
On Raya. I was gonna ask your opinion on Raya because I was on that fucking wait list for 3 years, and I'm like, why? Why? I mean, I don't need it anymore. But from what I've heard,
that's
it's not
why
good.
Because you're on wait list for 3 years. That's like that's why they want to create that hype. It's a smart marketing perspective, but it's like you get there and you're like, this is it. This is like, it's like when you went out of a bar for like hours. You're like, are you kidding?
I saw a TikTok that there's no heights for the guys on Raya.
Yeah.
And they've determined that everyone is short.
That's literally a bold-faced lie. And I know who made that TikTok. And Audrey, I'm looking at you. I saw it. No, I mean, I love Audrey, but like literally like, it's funny that you say that because like the guy that I saw in Miami was 6'1". Okay. My best friend dated a guy from Raya. He was also 6'2". So I don't know. Like it just, I think it's interesting, the height thing. And I honestly, to be honest with you, I kind of like it. I like that there's no height. I think that we're, again, so judgmental.
So fixated.
And, like, so fixated. And, like, ultimately, like, do I like taller guys? Obviously. I know you do too, bitch. But, like, it's...
I want to feel as small as I possibly can.
Is it really a deal breaker if, like, I wear heels and, like, we're the same height when I'm wearing heels? Like, no. If they make me the happiest ever, like, maybe I could look past it. So I appreciate that.
well, you know what? We're all going to shrink someday when we're old and wrinkly. So you're probably going to end up being the same height anyway.
There you fucking go. So Miami tea. Why do you think, I'm curious for you, why do you think people are so invested in this?
I think it's because you literally just like met this guy and you up and went and met him. And I think a lot of people want to do that. Like they meet somebody that they are really interested in and they're like, I just want to go and meet him. Like you don't want to form a connection over the phone, and you just know that if you see him in person, like you know right away if there's a connection, there's chemistry or not. And I think a lot of people want to do that, but they can't. They don't have the balls to do it. They don't have the confidence to do it. They maybe like are tied down to a work, so they actually can't do it. Like their schedule doesn't allow. And so I think people are just like literally living through you because they're living out like what they want to do. And it just, people are not always bold enough to do that. I mean, I don't know if I necessarily am. So I think that's why people are invested. And also too, people just love you as a person. So anytime people are invested in a person, they want to see them happy. They want to see it play out. Exactly. And just the way that you storytell too is so like engaging and captivating that I'm like, oh my God, what's happening next?
It was definitely like the first time. It reminded me a lot of Let's Fucking Date. Like I was like, oh my God, I'm literally doing season 4 on TikTok. You know, and I feel like even though like I have a bigger following on TikTok, like I still sometimes I'm like, what am I doing on this app? Like how can I have like a true presence on this app? And it's been a lot of like exploring because I really wanted to do sex, but a lot of it gets taken down because of community guidelines, which is totally fair. You know, like I get it. There's obviously children on the app, but it's me trying to normalize sex. But I get that I'm like, you know, sometimes go against the grain. But, you know, I was like, what do I do? And I just was like, dating is just what I do. So why not put it on TikTok? And it felt high stakes. It felt fun. And I was surprised because I literally was like, guys, like a guy just invited me to Miami. Like, should I go? And everyone was like, wait, you have to go. And I was like, oh, fuck. Okay, we're going. Yeah. And it was really fun. I want to say something. You know, I felt a lot of guilt after I went. I haven't talked about this, so.
Okay. No, that's, I mean, like, that's true. That's honest. That's like real.
I felt a lot of guilt because like, I feel like, you know, it is my responsibility as especially like an older-ish voice on the app, like a 27-year-old.
Oh,
like,
you're not old.
If I'm not old, but like we're just like a role model to some degree for some young girls. Like I felt like I never want to send someone into, you know, a unsafe situation, and I felt like I don't feel guilty anymore. I think guilt is a useless feeling, but I just like want, you know, I spoke about it in the comments a little bit, but like when I went there, you know, I don't think you should ever stay at a person's apartment when you're first meeting them. And that was like something I learned, right? Like I think like my takeaway was like, it's fucking weird. Like where do you go to the bathroom? Like, you don't have like, you're so, where do you poo? Like you were so fucking exposed. Like I literally went to the gym. Like I can't. Like I was literally like, you're very exposed. You're doing your 12-step fucking skin routine in front of them, and you just met them, which is why it was so exhilarating and fun. Yeah. Because it was like, first of all, it was the most YOLO. And I think that when we go on dates, and I know a lot of people are going to be nodding their heads to this, they present the best version of themselves, the version that they think that the person will like. Yeah. Stop doing that. Stop doing that, because your person is going to fucking like you for who you are. Yeah. And if they, or they're going to find out. So what was interesting with this situation, it was like, I couldn't hide. I was going to be fully me. Makeup in the morning, crusty, gross, pooping, da-da-da. I didn't, like, obviously not the pooping part, but like, just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just like, this is like me. And what happened was we actually ended up really like having a great fucking time and hitting it off. And I think he lives in New York, which I didn't tell anyone.
Yeah, he lives in New York. Yeah. Okay. Well, I won't get like too hyped up over it, but I am hopeful because now I'm like, okay, it's going to continue, and then like maybe this will progress, but in a very like natural way.
I think like, listen, you got to date all around. You got to date the vibe. You got to see what's up. Like I think like he was great. It was fun. I love that he got into the TikToks. At first he was like, I'm not going to meet your TikToks. So I was like, okay, whatever. And then he was like, you should tell them like how it's going. And I was like, oh, now you want to be a part of it.
Well, I think too, because I think he maybe like started to like you, and he's like, I kind of want people to know that like this maybe like could potentially go somewhere. So maybe that's why he was also
he
like
sent those flowers and really yummy brownies. We can have one after.
Oh my God.
But no, I think
so like, he's in deep. He likes you. I mean, he sent you flowers.
Who doesn't fucking like me, Jenna? Come on.
There
are some people. No, I'm kidding. But like, I think like, you know why he likes me? I'm gonna tell you why. Because I was literally unabashedly myself. And confidence is the sexiest thing with men. And I find myself sometimes going on dates laughing at jokes that are not funny. Yeah. Like ordering a drink or not eating food because I'm afraid to eat. Like, fuck that. Be your motherfucking self. because guys think that's hot ultimately.
Yeah.
And do you agree? Like,
no, I do 100% agree. I actually remember like a year ago, when I was dating, I made a TikTok and it was like, oh, this is how you like impress guys. And I look back on it and I'm like, oh my God, that is so like ridiculous of me. And I was saying like, you treat these dates like you're recruiting a girl for a sorority. And when you ask them all these questions and you act like you're so like into them and interested in them, then they're going to leave that date and be like, this was the best date I've ever been on. And then they're going to tell all of these people like, yeah, this girl was so awesome. And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, why do I care if he even likes me when I didn't even like him? Like, what is the point? I don't want to date him. Do I just like want to protect my own ego and my own, you know, like name? And I want people to think highly of me. And then I kind of stopped doing that.
That's why you have to date yourself first. This is why you have to become your best friend. Talk to yourself in the mirror 100%.
Yeah.
Because you're looking for validation. When like, you're like, do you even like him? And I remember I used to do the same thing. My roommate was like, I was like, well, then how do I change? And I'm like, she's like, if he tells a joke and it's not funny, don't laugh. Don't you like literally act like it's someone you know. And like just act like, don't act like it's a date. Just be like, okay, like cool. Or like just literally act as yourself. And like ultimately, like if you just have that mindset, like I went in with the mindset like this is such a ridiculous situation that like we're not getting out of here dating.
Yeah.
With that mindset, I mean, we're not dating, but like it's continuing. So I think that's what's really interesting. It's like if you can go in there like bye, it's not even anything, then it kind of like works to your advantage. But ultimately, you just need to be comfortable, like and just do you and just don't overthink things. It's just a conversation. You're just getting to know someone. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I love that. I'm so happy for you.
I'm happy for you. Like
we'll see where it goes. Okay, so I know that you have shit to do. You have places to go. The last thing that we're going to talk about.
But we're having fun on the weekdays.
Yes.
Okay. We're having fun on the weekdays.
It is Thursday, but you have stuff to do after this, so we're going to wrap it up soon. Okay. But we're going to talk a little bit about like sex and just how do you give advice to girls about like how to open up and start being comfortable with themselves? Because honestly, I'm 24 and even talking about it, I still kind of like feel a little weird.
But why do you feel weird?
Okay. Oh my God, you just answered my own damn question. So I feel like really none of my friends ever talked about masturbating or like having sex or doing anything until maybe my senior year of college. Okay. And I think that maybe I was just a little naive thinking that like no one did that because I didn't do it. And because I wasn't hearing other people doing it, I was like, oh, that's weird. Like that's literally weird. And so I never like, you know, explored that myself until I was like a full adult, like completely out of a relationship.
You realize that it's not your fault.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like the reason why it's not talked about is because women's sexuality scares men. Like it's like they don't want women that are sexual because when we're sexual we have power and it's threatening, right? So it's like it's all super taboo. Like men can talk about fucking porn.
Yeah.
Remember we used to play the penis game when we were little? We were like penis, you'd like scream it louder. Why were we saying vagina? So it's so normal that it's like not talked about, but that doesn't mean that no one does it.
Yeah.
But the more you talk about it, the more shame you're going to remove from it. Like you see, like we're talking about it right now. You're not getting all like...
No, I know. I'm like, ooh, this is growth, Jenna. You're doing good.
It's like, think about it. Like sex really is, if you're in love with someone, it's really just a love language. It's another way of expressing love. Yeah. And it's also creating life, which is like the most powerful thing you can do. So if you kind of like... And it's pleasure. It's fun.
And think about yourself
it's a very,
too.
Like it's so weird because it's literally like a fucking hole in it. Like it's like this. It's like, but it's a lot of positive things come from it. A baby, an orgasm, just like intimacy. So if you start reframing it as a positive thing versus like a whoo thing, then I think it'll be easier for you to talk about.
Yeah, for sure, and not like something that's so shameful.
But why is it shameful? Like there's nothing shameful about it. You know, if it's safe and you're with someone you trust, like literally. There's nothing shameful about sex.
Yeah, and you know who you can trust if you can't trust other people, yourself.
100%.
So I liked that you said that it's literally 100%. Just a way of showing love, and if you just keep preaching like love yourself, date yourself.
Literally.
Okay, well you don't need to like go out and have meaningless, horrible sex with somebody that's like not actually doing anything for you.
You got a little device and you're good to go.
Speaking of, I wanted to ask you, okay, so I have to be completely honest with you. I literally do not own a vibrator. I don't have like anything. Is that insane of me?
Yeah.
Is that not insane? Well, it's not insane. So for anybody like, okay, that wants to maybe like explore their sexuality a little bit, get more comfortable, do you have recommendations of like, what are your favorites? And like, how do you kind of just like ease into it and it's not all just like all at once, like, okay, I'm just going to go full force and just be crazy.
Okay, see, this is...
Well, I think people are scared to do that.
But let's talk about this. Full force and go crazy? Why is touching yourself with like an advice... No, but listen, but this is the thing. It's like, it's either you have a vibrator or you don't. Like, I get it. Okay, like, this is funny. This is for jokes, okay? But this is honestly, people like this, right? But it's like, we gotta, like, remove the, like, crazy. It's, like, literally, like, an amazing device that is just helps you get stimulated and excited. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, shit, I feel like...
Right, but, you have to be aware of the way, like, even you, like... It's
the way that I just talked about it.
You should absolutely own a vibrator. They're really, really fucking cute ones. There's cute ones from this, it's called Bellesa, and they look like little shells. Like, I have one in my room. I think I have an extra one for you, but we have to see if I've used it or not.
I'm like, what?
Like, yeah. No, I'm going to send you one because I've worked with them before, and, like, you guys should look at it. They also have, like, ethical, great porn, you know, that's not, like, the gross, scary porn. They have really great porn on their website. And, like, again, like, it's not scary. It's not, like, it's your vagina. It's your body. And you gotta remove the shame and gotta remove the fear. Fear of what? What's gonna happen? Your vagina's not gonna eat you. You know what I mean? It's not gonna come through and, like, kill you. It's really just like your body. You have to get to know it. Get a fucking mirror. Look at it. Get used to it. Yeah. Vibe with it. Sing a song to it.
I do have to be honest. I took a mirror down there for the first time in, like, literally so long.
I'm proud of you. That's good.
You want to know why, though? It wasn't because I was just, like, curious to check it out.
It's okay.
Oh, you don't want to know? I don't have to tell you. I don't have to tell you. No.
Because you were curious to check it out. That's why.
Yes, I was curious to check it out. And then after, I was like, oh, it's kind of pretty down there.
Yay! You did it! I'm so proud of you.
I was like, wow. Okay. And then you know what I did? I literally Googled, this is so funny of me. I literally Googled, like, different types of vaginas because I literally wanted to see, like, what shape. Do you ever do that?
Yeah.
Like, just,
I don't know.
think that...
No, I just don't look at other... I just, like, I don't care. Like, it's just that it's...
I just think that, like, I feel like I've missed a portion of my life in a way to, like, be closer with my friends and something that we could, like, bond over
absolutely
and
not.
Be more intimate over.
Absolutely not. You can make up for lost time. Absolutely not.
Okay.
There was no window of when you can start talking about sex. Just literally text them after and be like, I just talked about sex with SFK. who here masturbates? What vibrators are you using? Done.
Okay, it's starting here, and
you're
everybody
not, like,
listening.
90. You're literally 24. This is the prime time.
I know. Okay, I love it. And also on that note too, that's, like, literally the perfect way to figure out what you do and don't like, so that when you are with a partner, like, how many times have you had sex with somebody that it's not enjoyable, and then after it you just feel like shit because you're like, why did I do that? Like, it's not like you liked the person, and
yeah, and it's okay. You don't have to, but it's ultimately. You have to communicate what you like. You can't expect someone to know what you like. And how do you know what you like unless you do it to yourself? So one. And two, like, this is why, like, when you have sex, like, it's good to do it with someone that you feel comfortable communicating things to. And that's why the card game is also really great. And I really recommend you guys buying the card games because it really opens you up vulnerably before you have sex with someone, if that's what you choose to do. Yeah. And it makes you talk about sexual things that maybe you wouldn't want to bring up. You know, I think you would fucking love the game. Love the games. I can't wait for you to play.
Me too. I literally can't wait either. I want to, like, catch a plane home right now. So what is, like, a way that you think, a lot of people, okay, they know that, like, their partner is doing something wrong, but they're scared to bring it up because they just don't want to, like, hurt that person's feelings or their ego. How do you bring it up to your partner in a way that is, like, you know, still loving and endearing, but, like, also kind of educational? Okay.
So I like it slower. I like it a little faster. I like it when you say, like, dirty little things to me like this. Again, having the card game is the way to do it. And I'm not trying to, like, self-promote.
No,
literally, because it's a way to be like, oh, the card said, what do you like in bed? Without you having to, like, ask, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what the cards do. They, like, start conversation without you having to bring it up. And for someone that's a little more shy about it, that's what the purpose it serves. I know not everyone can be SFK and be like, hand me my pink dildo immediately. I get that, right?
I love that.
But so that's why I created something that to make women feel, or anyone feel, like they can just bring things up without actually having to be, like, full force about it.
Mm-hmm. So as somebody who's, like, obviously very open, I think that people just feel very comfortable coming to you because they know that you're not going to judge them, whatever the question may be. Mm-hmm. So what are some of, like, the most common questions that girls ask you about, like, sex?
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of it has to do with when should I have sex with someone. Okay. And I think what I've learned with my many years of dating is, you know, I've had sex with a guy on the first night of the date, and, you know, I always regret it. Always regret it. It's not that because I fuck him, he's not interested in me anymore. That's not, like, you know, it's multiple, like, you don't know the person from one date. You don't. They're presenting the best version of themselves, so are you. And, you know, I think it's really important to really get to know someone before you have sex with them, because sex is a language of love, of intimacy. Yeah. So get to know them with your clothes on before you take your clothes off. Or if you're just like, fuck it for the plot, YOLO, do that too. I do it all the time. Yeah. But I think, like, if you really if you think, hey, wow, like, I kind of have feelings for them, I'm feeling something, I think it's better to hold out and wait.
I agree too. And I feel like also it's just always so much better when there's like an emotional intimacy. Like it's just
always better.
Always so much better. It like really just deepens the connection.
Always.
And you're never gonna, I mean, not necessarily, I guess you could start a connection based on physical, like sexual connections. But I do think that it's a little bit like deaper and more vulnerable when it's
about
the other way
communication
around.
and like verbal communication.
For sure. Well, we're gonna wrap it up. Some of my last questions are: what is your advice for having fun like with your sex life? Because maybe you're in a long-term relationship and like the flame has kind of died, or maybe you're single and like you want to spice up your life.
Buy my fucking card game first of all.
Okay.
Like literally, I have couples that are like, we've been married for 30 years and like we had the best sex of our lives. I was like, let's go. I feel like I'm gonna be responsible for the new generation of babies, honestly, this year.
Okay.
With the people breaking beds, people like fucking on the roofs. Like it's a really great way to spice up your sex life. I'm just saying it is, and that's why I created a game that you can play completely by yourself. Mm-hmm. So play that game by yourself first, and you can play with a partner or with friends or whatever. But that's why, because you gotta normalize it. If you wanna have great sex, you have to say, I wanna have great sex, but also have great sex with myself.
Yeah, and I guess also too, like, be open to trying different things as well. Because, I mean, how many times are you going to have sex in the same position? It's kind of, you just don't want to do it anymore because then you're like, this isn't exciting. It's just like the act of it, and it's not like pleasurable. It's literally just like, you know, an action, and then it's done and it's over with.
No,
and you're like, thank God.
Yeah, I have to have fun. Also, I think I want to say this. If you're listening to this and you've never masturbated before, I don't want you to feel ashamed. I don't want you to feel like, well, I haven't masturbated and I'm 25, 35, whatever, or like 15. I don't fucking care. There's no wrong time to start, just like you're going to text your friends after this and be like, yo, what vibrators do you guys use, right? There's never wrong. You're never wrong. You're never like, you know, this is why I create the content that I create and why I create the games, because I want you to know that it's okay, and that if you haven't explored yourself or you've never had an orgasm, you still can have one. Nothing's wrong with you. Mm-hmm. It's just like, we don't talk about it. So we don't talk about it, we don't know what to fucking do. And that's why I like to talk about it, and I want to normalize it.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like this is such a good kind of like intro type of episode. Yeah, because
good for you.
It's not like
for you, Donna.
I know, right? I feel like I just grew a lot. Like, I'm a woman now, but I feel like this is a good intro. And then I feel like also too, like, people that listen to my podcast are going to have questions, and then it will also just open up the conversation.
We can do round 2 when I'm coming to Austin.
Yes, I love it.
We can
and
turn
then
up the heat a little bit.
That time we can answer like people's questions specifically.
Great.
And give both of our takes.
I can't wait.
All right. Well, Serena has a very busy schedule, and so do I. We got to hit the town.
Yeah, she's got to hit up New York. She's going to go out with her friends, like comedy show.
Yeah, I'm looking to have like a belly laugh to the point that I wake up tomorrow with a 6-pack, because I am literally so bloated. I think I'm about to get my period next week or something. But
that's okay. You look beautiful and amazing.
Oh, God, I just fucking did it again.
You did it again.
I look so good, and I look extra curvy right now.
You feel bloated. That's okay.
I feel bloated.
The feelings go away, and you're beautiful forever.
Exactly. Okay, love that. Thank you for the reminder.
Thank you so much, Jenna. Thanks for coming over.
This right there, that's probably going to be the thumbnail. Okay, love it. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and tune in next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.